He's worth it. So beautiful. Hello YouTube, welcome back to my channel. For those of you new here, my name is Allie DeAndrea, and today we are doing an elk bag dump. It is elk season, so my pack is geared up exactly as it is for elk season. I'm gonna dump this puppy out, give you a little information about each piece of gear along the way, and have a lot of fun. So without further ado, let's get right into it. First things first, let's talk about the pack. That is the most important piece of this entire situation, in my opinion. This pack is the Mystery Ranch Metcalf. Whether you're a guy or a gal, this Metcalf is the same pack. What's different is the frame, and we'll get to the frame in just a second. Let's first talk about this beautiful bag right here. The entire volume of this pack is 4,333 cubic inches, and it weighs 5.7 pounds. First thing you'll probably notice is what I call the brain, or the lid, and that's this guy right here. So this detaches completely, and you can run just the frame with this lid if you're doing an ultralight day hunt. You can also add it on top of the pack of itself for multi-night, overnight trips, or you can just remove it completely, and then you've got just the pack without the lid, which is obviously going to save a little bit on weight. So it's a little customizable in that way. Down here to the bag, there are stretchy compartments on both sides. It's a great place to put your water bottle, if you have like a Nalgene, your tripod. First piece of gear that we'll talk about beyond the pack is glassing tripod. Also trekking poles. Highly recommend trekking poles for any type of mountainous hunt, especially on the downhill. You are going to kill your knees unless you have those trekking poles to help absorb the impact. Whether you're 20 years old or 50 years old, trust me, you want a pair of trekking poles. The trekking poles actually are also used for my tent, which we'll get to a little bit later. I also have a little butt pad attached on the outside here. This is for glassing. So like right now, actually, I'm gonna use it right now. It's great to kneel on, it's great to sit on, and it will make you way more comfortable during a backcountry hunt. Oh yeah, that's nice. On the left side of the pack, there's a zipper that runs from top to bottom, and this gives you easy access to the inside contents without having to remove the brain, without having to undo everything up top. Down here at the bottom, I love to pack my sleeping bag on the outside of my pack. I find that it takes up way too much space if you try and shove it inside. So this pack has the perfect straps on the bottom to shove your sleeping bag in there. I run a 0-degree down sleeping bag. It's my favorite go-to. I run cold, so I love to have that extra warmth most of the time during September archery elk into October for any type of rifle hunt. Temps will be anywhere from usually 45 degrees or less. So having a 0-degree bag is just the easiest way to go. Down will also save you some weight, but it won't keep you warm when wet. Synthetics, however, will keep you warm when wet. All just stuff to consider. On the front of the pack, there are two straps that you can use to tighten down, keep the pack nice and compressed. But more importantly, it's perfect for attaching your bow. I like to attach my bow to my pack as I'm hiking in or hiking out of a spot, and this works perfectly. Would also work great for a rifle or any other type of weapon. Now let's flip her around and let me show you the frame of the pack. This is where the heavy lifting is done. So like I said, this is their Guidelight MT Mystery Tech frame. This is by far the most comfortable frame I have ever worn in a hunting pack. The main features stay the same from men to women. It's the same for both of us. This is just customized for the shape of a woman, if you catch my drift. Let's start down here with the belt. This is a 5-panel belt, which gives you, it really like wraps around your hips. That provides more contact with your body, and it's very rigid. So when you cinch it down, it really takes the load of your pack, which is exactly what you want. You want that lower body to be doing the work. You don't want it to be pulling up at your back and your shoulders. So this belt is absolutely incredible. It has a MOLLE system on both sides. So if you're someone who likes to carry bear spray, if you like to carry a sidearm, this is a great place to attach it. Even something like a GPS or a rangefinder, etc. The straps are where it differs from men to women. The women's cut a little bit different and ride in a little bit more for men. There's a spot on the right and left strap to secure your hose bladder. So I like to run mine on the left side. I've got that strapped in just like that. Next thing that deserves a ton of attention is their overload feature. So this frame can be separated from the pack itself, and it provides a little cavity, if you will, for your meat. So when you're hauling out an elk, you're hauling out a mule deer, an antelope, what have you, hell, even a whitetail, depending on where you're at, this provides you a space to put the meat without getting all of the nasties on the inside of your pack. But it also keeps the weight distributed in a way that keeps everything just locked in, comfortable, which is huge for long, heavy pack outs. It's designed for multi-night trips, but also works phenomenally for short day hunts. I freaking love it. It's a really good pack. Whew. So now let's get into the bulk of the contents inside of my pack. Let's start first with what's in my little brain pouch, what's in the lid. First things first, water filtration. I like to run a manual water filtration system like this. This is by Sawyer. First thing that I do when I get to the water is fill this bag up, drink it completely as my stomach is processing all of that water. I fill it up again, and then I will either fill up my water bladder or my Nalgene, depending on what I have with me that day. Tent stakes, self-explanatory. Toothbrush and toothpaste. Next pocket. When nature calls, gotta have some TP. This is the bino attachment for my tripod. So tripod is attached to the outside, as we talked about earlier. This screws right on top. Having a glassing tripod does increase the amount of weight that you're carrying around, but it provides for a much more comfortable, enjoyable glassing session, and especially on a very mountainous hunt, glassing is a very smart way to hunt. Get yourself a good glassing tripod because it will help you become a better hunter. And last, a GoPro. We love filming our hunts. We love sharing everything, so I always have some type of camera with me as well. On that note, actually, this clip by GoPro, I believe it's 25 or 30 bucks. It's one of the best accessories for GoPro that I've ever purchased. It's magnetic, so you can stick it to your truck and film yourself or film what's going on. You can also clip it, which has just been a saving grace because I can clip it to my bino pack, I can clip it to a tree branch, etc., etc. 10 out of 10. Let's get to the inside of this puppy. So there are two clips up top. And actually, I didn't talk about this when I was talking about the pack, but there is a ton of extra room on the top of this pack. You can fill up this entire space here and attach the lid on top of it all. So there is a lot of room to expand with this pack, which is great. Let's dive in. My tent. This is an ultralight 2-person tent. It's held up by trekking poles and it's floorless. I only would recommend a floorless tent in a very dry environment. It is wonderful in a dry environment, and the reason why I love a floorless tent is because it saves weight. However, my mom, my sister, and I went backpacking on the Appalachian Trail, and that was very moist, and there were a lot of millipedes and other creepy things that I did not want inside my tent. It was a horrible experience. But for an environment like this, a very dry, arid climate, ooh, nothing better than a floorless tent. Next, sleeping pad. This sleeping pad is by Nemo. It weighs 1 pound, 1 ounce. Woohoo! And it's pretty much the size of a big old beer. It's not quite the size of a beer can, but maybe if you go out to a cool bar that gives you like the big size, whatever, you can see how big it is. I like a sleeping pad that you blow up. It will give you more insulation and more comfort. It's easy to overlook a sleeping pad, but it really does add to your warmth at night. So sleeping pad, important. On sleeping, pillow. This is a little luxury. This is also by Nemo, but it is incredibly loved in the backcountry. This is a pillow. Next, stove. This stove is by Camp Chef. Whenever Nick and I backpack together, or backpack hunt, this is our stove of choice. I have some really lightweight stoves by MSR, by a couple other different brands as well that are really good, especially if you're alone, because they're just lighter and smaller. But this size has been great for the two of us, and I like how compact it is. Next, a bag full of food and some additional things. Instant oatmeal is a fantastic backcountry breakfast. You can pour your boiling water directly into these bags. I normally eat 2 for a breakfast. Must have. Long spoon is so important because when you're eating freeze-dried meals like this, you need the long spoon to reach all the way down. Otherwise, if you had a short spoon, your hand gets covered in your food and it's disgusting. Long spoon, highly recommend. Fuel canister goes with said stove. Coffee, of course, instant coffee. You definitely want to have a lot of that. Nick and I have also been on a liquid IV kick. Holy crap. This stuff is like Pedialyte, but for adults. And it's really great. Absolutely love it. I like to pack a collapsible cup. So when we do make coffee, I normally pour my coffee in here. If I'm gonna mix up a liquid IV, I will pour it into here. So some type of cup is also a must. Lighter. I also usually have a like a flint stick, a metal match, but I don't know where it went. And last thing in here, I've got some melatonin gummies. Melatonin is my savior for sleep, as well as some earplugs. Earplugs are also my savior for sleep. Nick would die if he had to put on earplugs while we were in the backcountry trying to sleep, because he likes to hear everything. He wants to be very alert, but I just want to sleep. So earplugs on nights that the tent's rattling because of the wind are huge. Next thing we have is a water bladder. So I like to run a 3-liter water bladder. This is a highly debated topic, but I like to restrict my water on short evening hunts, day hunts. I only want to take as much, like the minimal amount of water possible, because water weighs a lot. And if you're carrying around all of that extra weight, it's slowing you down, but you need a balance, because if you're not drinking enough water, you're gonna feel like shit. So especially during long hunts, you wanna always be aware of where your water source is. Water is very, very important, but I do like to restrict on certain types of hunts. Next, we have got a med kit. So fun story, I used to be a paramedic. I went to the University of Pittsburgh and I have a degree in emergency medicine. I spent time as an EMT and then became a paramedic and taught EMT labs, taught CPR. So I didn't used to have a great medical kit in the backcountry, and I have recently upgraded that. So I have Benadryl, Tylenol, and Advil. Next, I have some liquid skin, a liquid Band-Aid, Quick Clot, which is for a pretty severe cut or wound that won't stop bleeding, lip balm, burn shield, sunscreen, antibiotic ointment, hydrocortisone cream, and oral pain relief. I also have some moleskin for blisters, some antimicrobial hand wipes, and a couple Band-Aids. You can also make a tourniquet pretty easily. I cherry-picked all of these medical supplies from my MyMedic bag. We keep a MyMedic in the truck, and we have a kit that's dedicated for our backcountry hunts, but it has a little too much stuff in it. So this was my lightweight, ultralight backcountry version of my med kit. Next, game bags. These game bags are by Alaska Guide Creations. They make a really great kit for elk and a smaller set for deer. Now in this kit includes a big, large almost poncho-like tarp, if you will, to help keep things clean, a pair of gloves, as well as some marker tape. I actually cut off a large section and sort of taped it off instead of packing around the entire roll. But that's all my game bags. Next, wow, we've got camo. And that's it, we've hit the bottom of the bag. So next thing, this is obviously not all of the camouflage that I would have, but depending on how long or short the hunt is, you know, you bring as many layers as needed. So that is all that I keep in my pack, but I also wear a bino harness. So there are additional pieces of gear in here. First thing, most obvious thing, is a pair of binoculars. I'm running a 10x42 pair. These are by Swarovski. Swarovskis are so gorgeous, expensive, but so gorgeous. My release, I have been running this Scott molded grip release so far this season, and I really like it, but I've been keeping it in my bino harness. Occasionally, I will also carry it in my pocket. Here at the front of the bino pack, I always have my headlamp. I should have a pair of backup batteries in there as well. We changed the batteries right before we started hunting, so I'm a little lazy and I don't have my backup pair, but I would highly recommend having a backup pair. Oh, delicious. I have a couple gummies left, which I will eat. Next thing I have in here are a couple diaphragm calls. Nick has been the elk caller this season, so he has the bugle tube and all that good stuff, but I do have some extra diaphragms just in case. I don't have it in here right now, but I always keep my processing knife here in my bino harness for easy access, windicator right up top, and a rangefinder. And last but not least, in the back, I keep my hunting tags, license. I'll even take my driver's license in with me, which I actually don't think I need to do, but sometimes I do that. Anyway, so that is my elk bag dump 2020 updated version. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any comments or questions, leave them down below. And that is it. So I will see you in the next one.